it.
Good afternoon. So in today's Travel Daily Inspirational Women in Asia, we have Bonnie with us, who's in Hong Kong. So Bonnie, would you like to introduce
Hi,
yourself
Carolyn.
and tell us a
Oh,
little bit about you?
hi, Carolyn. My name is Bonnie. I am operations leader for FCM Hong Kong. I've been with the company as well as the travel industry for 10 years now. I head up the operations department here to ensure service excellence to our customers, ensuring successful onboarding of our new customers, and make sure that our clients love and stick with us.
And you're from Hong Kong, right?
I am from Hong Kong. Yeah, born and raised in Hong Kong. I studied linguistics in my university, and I spent 1 year in Germany as an exchange student before I came back to Hong Kong and joined Flight Center, or FCM.
So what brought you back to Hong Kong instead of maybe staying in Europe or doing something with your linguistics?
You know what? I actually would love to would love to stay in Germany or just Europe, in general for longer. But it's just reality that I finished my study, and at some point I need to come back to Hong Kong and start thinking about getting a job and developing a career. So I had to come back, and this is actually my first permanent job. And so I have worked in the company for as long as I had my first permanent role.
Okay, and what attracted you to Flight Center?
Yeah, I guess, probably travel is just, in my blood, I would say. I never really feel so strongly about it until I guess that year that I spent in Germany, and I visited over probably 25 or 30 countries in that 1 year,
Wow.
that I was actually supposed to study German, literature and German study in Bonn. But instead, I just went traveling every weekend, be that is taking budget airlines like Ryanair or Air Berlin, to different places. And I just did it every weekend with my classmates. And it's a lot of fun. It's a very important year in my life.
But that's half of studying, isn't it, when you get to travel like that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think, yeah, I would absolutely, see it that way, learning and, learning about new culture, other countries, how other people live, who they are, taking an interest in their lives and background. I guess, this is just who I am as a person. I'm always, a keen learner about new things.
Nice. You said travel's in your blood. Does it run in the family?
Actually, no. I'm actually very surprised as well. I actually once asked my mom, I said, "Hey mom, like why don't you travel more?" Or, I even offered, I said, "I want to take you to, this place and that place." And she seemed quite happy just being in Hong Kong. I mean, don't get me wrong. She had traveled, to a couple of times to Bangkok in Thailand, but I guess the longest, the farthest that she has traveled was to New Zealand. But that's it. And she's quite happy to see the world through the TV, actually, which is very, very different to who I am. I always want to be flying somewhere and just to get out of Hong Kong and see other countries. So a little bit of a, I guess, dark horse in my family, maybe.
How do they feel about that you have this travel bug?
I think I guess being in the travel industry, I don't feel like too much too different from my colleagues, because we all travel. And probably the only thing that is different is that I love to go to literally like everywhere in the world, whereas some of my colleagues or friends, they have preferences over like Japan or somewhere in Asia. And I was once pointed out by my parents and say, "Hey, like daughter, do you realize that you've actually visited a lot of countries in the world that a lot of people don't get the chance to, or they never thought of traveling to?" And that's where I realized that, yeah, actually that's my dream, and that's in my blood, and it probably will be so until the end of my day. And my ultimate travel destination is the Antarctica.
Wow. Yeah.
And I will have that dream realized one day.
Fantastic dream to have. Take us back
Yeah.
a little bit. When you finished your linguistics and you returned to Hong Kong, what sort of jobs were you actually looking for, or were you always intent on going into travel?
You know what? I actually had absolutely no idea whatsoever. Because with my undergraduate degree, I actually couldn't be a speech therapist. With that program, I had to do further study to be trained up enough in order to be a speech therapy, which was one of my passion, and probably still is until today. But I had no idea when I got back to Hong Kong. I actually just started sending off resumes everywhere, sending 20, 30 a week, until I came across this recruitment ad one day from Flag Center Travel Group, and there are a few questions on the recruitment ad asking, do you like travel? So I'm like, yes, tick. And do you like meeting new people? Tick. Are you afraid to challenge yourself and try something new? No, I wasn't. So I just put in my application, and the following day, I still remember, I got a phone call from the HR department lady, and I went through, one phone interview and a couple other, face-to-face interview. And then they offered me a role of a travel consultant in the leisure business, and I just took the job. And I still remember my mom sort of had a small, moment, asking me, whether I feel like I had made the right choice of saying yes to the offer. I was actually quite sure I wanted to give it a go anyway. I guess, from my mom's perspective is that, she would have hoped that maybe I would become a speech therapy, graduating from linguistics, or, to be a professor or be a teacher, roles like that. But I just know that I would love the idea of being in the travel industry, and I've never regretted that decision.
And that's 10 years.
And that's been 10 years, just like that, time just flew by. I guess, it's just funny because in Hong Kong, I would say, especially in Hong Kong, the way I grew up, and I believe it's still so until today, that a lot of parents have some sort of expectation of their kids, growing up, you need to be a good student, do great in your exams, get good scores. So then that gives you the ticket into a good university, get a good degree, and then graduating with good grades and get into a great company, earning a lot of money. And, as a lot of people know, property in Hong Kong is crazy, in terms of prices. And so it's a lot of people's goal to have their own property by the age of 30. And, if you can't achieve that, by the age of 30, then, you just keep, working hard, do your job, 9 to 5, save up that money, have that down payment to pay for a flat. And I think it's just a lot of expectation on that, and that probably adds on to some pressure into young people in Hong Kong as well. But I was still kind of lucky that my parents allow me to have that freedom to pursue my dream and to give things a go. And I really love what I do.
And now you've climbed the ladder up to what, operations leader for Hong Kong?
For Hong Kong, yeah. And I would say, I am at this stage in my life now that I've built up, enough experience, not only, about the industry, but also, what I do, my skill set and who I am as a person as well. And I never stop, challenging myself. And because of that, even with my 10 years experience in operations, I had actually recently completed a data analytics course, which is completely out of my depth and out of my comfort zone. And I want to challenge myself because, it is a very popular topic right now. And I do believe that, data takes a big part in our life and in our business right now. And so I want to, learn something new. And I want to see, if I can develop an understanding and how that can help me translate that knowledge into my into what I do now with the company.
Where do you see your future?
My future is, I can't say, one place or one spot that I want to be. I believe that, throughout the years that I've developed a deeper understanding of myself. And I'm just a perpetual curious person that I want to see the world and I want to explore the world. And hence a very, very recent decision to actually apply for to be a participant in ocean racing, and it's called Clipper Race, and it's actually a yachting company, that organization that organized this ocean race for amateur sailors. And I've just signed up to participate for the 2023 and 24 ocean race, and I love to be able to sail across the Pacific Ocean in that race.
How did you get into that? How did you find out, and how did you get accepted for that?
You know what? I think it's because I've signed up for too many groups about sailing and living abroad on Facebook, and they probably can see my preference. And one day I just see this, Clipper Race showing up on my timeline. And I'm like, this is perfect, because I know that, at this stage of my life, I probably can't be a professional, ocean racer, but, it's actually open for amateur sailors. So there's actually a perfect chance for me to be able to take part in at least one of the ocean crossing race. And it's going to be epic. And I've still got 2 years to prepare for it. And it will be a 37 days at sea racing. So I'll probably have to take some unpaid leave or take some sabbatical leave, whatever that might be. But I know that actually my company will support me in that. And so is my family.
How on earth do you even start to prepare for something like that?
You know what? It all starts by just putting in that application. I actually haven't had my interview yet, so I need to pass that interview. I've actually just replied to the organization with the 30 different questions that I have to answer. And the next step would be the interview. And if I do pass the interview, then I would get included into the race, and they will assign me according to my gender and my experience and my skills, age, and all that, and assign me to one of the sailboat. But all it takes is for you to actually take that step in applying for it. And I don't know how it will turn out. And maybe I will pass, maybe I'll get in, maybe I don't. But I just know that I don't want to regret it, 10 years from now, that I never made that move to put in that application.
That's a very good point, just taking that first step. And sometimes it's just replying to the email or applying to the job description, but just taking that first step is so important.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'm super excited as well. I think from that, I want people to, be that young people or even old people, doesn't matter, because, in that race, there are actually people from age of 18 all the way up to 75 plus to participate in the Clipper race. And so age is just a number. So long as there's a dream that you have, I would want, people to go for the dream and to pursue what they really want, and be brave and be courageous, and not to be afraid to be in a position where, it might be a little bit intimidating. It can be intimidating, but I think the result is always rewarding. That's just adds into your life's experience.
That's amazing. I mean, who's inspired you along the way? Have you had a mentor, or has there been somebody or something that's particularly inspired you?
Yeah, I wouldn't say like a particular person or an event. I guess, I just learn and realize, as I go and through life's ups and downs. But definitely there's one person that I want to thank, and it's one of my leaders in the business, Vicky Paris. I look up to her a lot because she doesn't only offer me, advice professionally, but also, at times, during our catch up or one-on-ones, a lot of times it's supposed to be very, job related. But every time when in moments of doubts, be that it's a self-doubt moment, or I just need some sort of like direction, she wouldn't necessarily give me the answers that I was looking for, but she would always ask me questions, and sort of just guide me towards it. And whatever conclusion that I come to, she always gives me that reassurance to say that it's okay to be myself and to be authentic, to accept who I am. And I think that's one of the reasons that why I love the company so much. Aside, from the company culture, it's a very welcoming culture. In one of our recent Women Wise Committee initiative, the slogan is "Come as you are," and I think that's just says it all. It's a very, very inclusive, welcoming culture that we are building for our people, irregardless, to your age, your background, your race, your preferences and all that. We just want people to come as they are and join us as a person as they are. And I think that's very, very important.
And how does that show up in your daily work life?
Yeah, sure.
As you are.
Yeah, I guess I also learned, being a leader, with my role, I grew to be more accepting and more open-minded. And when I interact with my colleagues, with my team, with people from other departments, I stay curious and I keep my mind like open, and I listen to what they have to say, what they have to teach me, and not to make judgment. I think that's very, very important. I guess if you hold that curious, attitude and be open to welcome different perspectives and different angles about, what we are trying to achieve as a business or what they are trying to do, in their life, there's always something to learn of each other. And I think, as an organization, if we can be more like that, and if everyone can be like that, we can achieve more as a team.
What are some of the challenges that you've perhaps faced?
With business, yeah. I guess,
business,
definitely.
I mean, life connects with business. So to get to where you are, some of the challenges that you might have had to overcome.
Sure. I guess, I feel very strongly, particularly so in the last 2 years, because of the situation in Hong Kong. We've got social unrest in Hong Kong, but on top of that, COVID, of course, made a major impact, not only on our business but also on people's just personal life and their mental wellness. I think the challenges is certainly for people to stay positive. That's for sure. But what I'm trying to do, with my team, or just with my friends or families, I always try to play the role of providing them with a different perspective, and to maybe take them fast forward 5 years or 10 years from now, yes, definitely, the times that we've been through are definitely tough, no doubt. But, if we look at that from 5 years from now, we may look back and be like, okay, it's actually a time that we've come through, and we've come through that time, and come out on at the other end so much stronger because of the challenges that we've come through and what we've learned along the way. It's always about the journey, the process, and all of a sudden, all the difficulties that we encountered, they don't seem so bad anymore, but rather, they just add on to that learning throughout our lives. And I guess that's how I always, handle challenges, and to allow me to just be present, stay in that moment, and to handle and tackle any challenges that comes along, and do my best to ride with the waves, I guess, and come out the other end stronger and have a new experience added to my life.
And knowing what you know now and where you are now, is there anything that you would have changed maybe at the beginning of your journey? Anything you would have done differently?
Sure. I would say, if there's a message that I would say to my younger self, I would say is be brave even earlier, as to, welcome new experiences with open arms, with an even more open mind. I might have challenged myself to different experiences or a different role, even earlier. And, again, that would only add to my experiences, and my learnings throughout life. But, equally, I'm just as happy as to, that I'm brave now, because I understand myself more, and I know that, there are timing for everything. Maybe, 5 years earlier, I wasn't quite ready yet, to make that step, to do a data course, to apply for a Clipper race, interview. But I know that I'm ready now, and I think everything takes time, to mature, to allow yourself that time to grow and to develop. And so, I would encourage, my friends and my colleagues to also take the time to allow themselves to understand themselves, to have a clearer sense of what they want to achieve, what's important to them, what's their life purpose, and to go from there.
That's great advice for the upcoming generation. What other advice would you perhaps give to maybe some of the girls or the young people who are studying now, or worrying about what they want to study and what they want to do? What advice would you give to them?
I would say, don't be limited by the fixated, rule, or, any social expectation that they may feel, being in the environment or surroundings that they're in. It's okay to be different. If you have a different dream, if you feel that you've got a different skill set, or, a very unique, take on life or career or whatever that they want to do, believe in that and be okay with it, and do all that they can to actually give things a go. But very importantly, I think, take small steps, take actions. It doesn't need to be, a very drastic change to the current life, but at least, give yourself a chance to make that step and be brave, and don't be afraid to fail. Even if it's a failure, but, in my opinion, it only adds on to the positives to your life. So there's no such things as failure. So give yourself that goal, and always believe yourself that you've actually got it, keep that faith and back that up with good energy and great effort, I believe anyone, young, old, age, race, everyone can actually live as their dream. And that's probably the motto that I want to live by as well.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's often said that failure is the opportunity to learn. We're always so afraid of failing. But if we don't fail, we never get anywhere and never learn anything. So,
absolutely.
and taking that first step and just keep moving forward.
Absolutely.
Great advice. How do you see, I mean, travel's had a really tough couple of years. How do you see it moving forward for, again, the younger generation, those interested in getting into the travel industry? Do you still see opportunities there for them? How does it look from where you sit now in Hong Kong?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yes, the travel industry has gone through, big challenge, and will still continue having challenge. Same for everything in life. But I think, for people who are passionate about the travel industry, equip themselves with new knowledge, and again, keep that open mind, and to learn about the industry, about all the innovations, all the technologies that we want to and that we are developing these days to make booking travel an easier process for everybody, or for like more accessible for anyone using travel agencies, for the travel program. I think it's really important to stay curious, and to then equip yourself to learn about things, to read about things, and put yourself into those experience, into those environment as well, so that you make sure that you are equipped enough and knowledgeable enough, so then when they get into the industry, they have that concept already, embracing the new normal after COVID. I think curiosity, learning something new every day, and equip yourself with knowledge are just key.
And we know your next step is sailing around the world.
Hopefully. And you know what, hopefully I might be sailing around the world, but I could still be in the travel industry. I don't know, sharing about my sailing experiences with my clients, or with my colleagues and friends, or with the world. The world is your oysters, so never limit yourself to just one place or one role. You are just what you dream, and live as you dream.
You'll have to let us know how you get on with that interview.
I will,
So we
absolutely.
can follow your progress.
Yes.
What's on the last point? What's the one thing in your career to date that you would have changed if you could, looking back?
Would have changed? It's probably a number of things. But if I could change, I would tell myself that it's okay to be myself, because I guess throughout my career journey with the company, especially initially, being a leader for a team, or for a department of our business, sometimes I feel like I have to be behaving in certain ways, or saying certain things, or doing certain things, so then people see me as a type of leader, or at least a type of leader that I feel that I want to present as. But my leader let me know that I don't have to do that. It's good enough to just be myself and be my authentic self. And so long as I come in with good intentions, with positive attitude, it's okay to be myself, because everyone is different. and I embrace uniqueness, and we embrace difference. So so even if I don't need to worry so much about needing or wanting to be perceived in certain ways. I guess that would be one thing that if I could change, I would change that. But as I said, equally, I'm very, very comfortable as how I am today, or just learning to be more authentic that way, because I might not be ready then, 8 years ago, but I'm ready for it now, and everything's just takes their time for everyone to mature and grow in their own pace.
I think that's an excellent piece of advice to leave the interview on. Thank you very much, Bonnie, for your time. It's been great chatting with you.
Thank you so much, Carolyn.